Hello folks, welcome back to the Addicted Bookworm, where my addictions all over the internet. On this channel I do library book hauls, book reviews, both physical and digital, audiobooks, and so much more. So now that I have kind of given you a little intro into what I'm going to be doing, I have just finished listening to chapter 4, and I am going to say that I definitely picked up a lot more in the audiobook than I did in the ebook. So I'm going to go through, like, basically, not each chapter. I was going to do that, then I realized I'm probably just going to make a bunch of mistakes and everything. So, we'll tell you in chapter 1, we basically are introduced to Carl, and to basically his world. And he talks about Princess Donut, who he just calls Donut. He talks about his girlfriend, who's now his ex-girlfriend, and mentions Instagram, about how basically she posted a photo of herself on her ex-boyfriend's lap, and basically that's what caused them to break up. Though it was more of him breaking up with her, and then of course she basically wanted to know, can my parents pick up Donut? And there was a very bad snowstorm, so of course they can't do it. I don't know if there would actually be a conversation between the parents and Beatrice. So I believe they're located in Seattle, I think it is. I think it's Seattle. And so it's like a really bad storm. So, of course, parents can come by and pick Donut up. And so, because he is so, pissed off with her, because right at this moment, he doesn't really, let me backtrack a little bit. At this moment, he's definitely more occupied with his anger than with anything else. And of course, you automatically assume that there's no way my day could possibly get any worse. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning, and Donut decides to be adventurous. And it does happen with cats. If they've been inside all their lives, they kind of want to see what the outside is like. But when it's that cold, of course, it's not a good idea. And so, basically, what happens is Donut leaps out, and when she realizes pretty quickly that it's cold, she climbs back up the tree. And the author makes it clear that the tree is not too far from his window. And so he has to go down, and this is where he doesn't take his pants. He doesn't take his pants, and he doesn't take his shoes, which you would probably think he should have. But he's that desperate to get this cat. And he kind of talks about his feelings and emotions about this cat. And about how he absolutely loves this cat. He absolutely loves this animal. And so, he doesn't mind Donut sleeping on, be on his lap while he's on his PlayStation. He doesn't care about that. He just loves this animal. And he loves her mainly because she doesn't give a shit about people, which he could totally respect. So, what basically, happens is suddenly everything goes flat. And the downstairs neighbor, I can't remember her name, her head gets severed. Because basically, her head is sticking out. So the pressure smacks, and it severs her head because her head is outside. Now, if her body is outside, that would be entirely different, but it is just her head that's outside. So everybody that was in office buildings, in homes, in homeless shelters, in tents, he probably thinks maybe under umbrellas, would have automatically been squished. And you kind of wonder about how powerful is this alien race that can smush people to like nothing. And literally there's only shapes of like cars and homes, which of course pretty quickly that's going to go away because you talk about snow. Because there is no buildings to kind of block how like powerful these winds are, he manages to get hold of Donut, and he decides, oh, the fire isn't too far away, I can get there. No. It's his perception is not correct. And suddenly this voice is in his head and basically talking about how the earth is kind of forfeited, and there's this company that's now taken over it, and they're going to mine the planet for its resources, which we later on find out is only enough for one transport ship, which is weird. So he, it's a language he can't read it, but for some unknown reason he's able to understand what this voice is basically telling him. And the voice is absolutely hilarious. It kind of reminds me of these people that are like really overly, they just love their job, which is creepy as shit. So basically what happens is, it is freezing. He can't feel his legs. He's starting to get frostbite. And suddenly this thing opens and this warmth just comes, in. And of course, him being cold, he goes into the light. Well, Donut actually goes down and then he follows. And the description of the staircase, and I missed this when I was reading the ebook version of this book. The description of the staircase is like, it says that it is wide enough for 20 people walking side by side. And it's like, they talking about the carvings and the height of the ceiling, and it's so like amazing how Matt is able to describe this particular scene in this great amount of detail. Absolutely loving it. And it's just like fish, like carved. And he comes to this really kind of conclusion that all of this is from above. So basically, they're taking all of Earth's minerals and rapidly creating this dungeon. So basically, he's walking, he's in these Crocs, not fit for the weather. He's kind of slides. I don't know I forgot if he slides or stumbles or one of it. But anyways, he finally gets down, and there is this really tall door. And it's interesting is that he gets these stats that he can't, like, it appears for a moment, then it goes away. And literally, the weirdest, like, all of a sudden he gets these notifications about, achievements and loot boxes and things like that. He can't access those. And it basically explains that he can't access it until he gets a tutorial from this guild master. So his job is to find the guild master. Anyone who knows anything about video games and RPGs know that you gotta find the guild master. So this guy, Carl, and and everything. And one of the achievements that he was laughing my ass off was Crazy Cat Lady. I was like, oh, like, what the heck? What the heck? And so, basically, that's an achievement. That's an achievement. And of course mentions that he doesn't have pants or that he doesn't have shoes. I think it was just the pants. Not mention the shoes, but I think it was just the pants. And so basically Donut follows them because at this moment right now she can't talk. She cannot talk at all. He doesn't know that this is going to happen. No, like when you're listening to the audiobook, if you have not read the book, you don't know that she's going to gain the ability to talk. So, of course, the dungeon, like, he thinks he's going to this guild master. He ends up almost going into this trap, and, of course, mentions heaven. If you have much of an asshole, you're probably going to end up there. There's these goblins waiting on him. And literally, they are not cute. They are not cute. They are ugly ass goblins. And they got this killing machine. And how he describes this killing machine is like, what the hell? I literally am like, oh my god. And one of them has a pot on his head. And so he's, running away from this thing. And he finally finds the guild master. The guild master does not let him in. And he kind of uses his brain pretty quickly to figure out that if he goes down this much narrow path, it'll give him a little bit of time. And the guild master refuses to let him in. It's against the rules. You can't do that and all that type of stuff. And so Donut gets in because she's smaller and she's, he ain't happy about that. He is not happy about that. So, after a lot of profanity, after a lot of anger, a lot of stuff like that, manages to get in. I want to add that he has to kill a goblin in order to do that. And then, his name is Mordecai. He basically says, that they're going to go and tell their family that you killed their clan, and member of their clan, and they're going to come back. So he has to go back out there. He has to basically kill these goblins so they don't inform the rest of the group that he did this. And, of course, during the whole process, he loses the shoes, so he's totally barefoot. And so, we get this great description of his classroom that he's got. We get, after he goes and kills off these things, Donut decides to pee in this guild master's mother's ashes, which is, wow. So Carl learns more about this corporation. And he explains about the rules. Like, you cannot, like, they know, like, the corporations know that people don't like them. They already know people don't like them. And I'm going to use the word people because it's just appropriate to do. And so, he gets a tutorial, and he's basically told about the different corporations and some of the things that they do and all this stuff. And you can really tell, like, he's getting really annoyed. Like, he wants a lot of answers. He gets angry when he doesn't get answers. And I would be like that in his shoes. Because because everything vanished. He almost died of hypothermia and frostbite. he doesn't have pants. He had to kill these goblins. And it's interesting is Mordecai talks about First Contact, which was like the year that Lord of the Rings came out. And basically, they have been waiting for decades to do this. And so Carl asks about, basically, he heard about if you get down to level 18 and stuff, you basically you win back your planet. And Mordecai is very clear that nobody has gotten past level 8. Like, level 18 is the end of it. Level 18, you beat the final boss, level 18, there is one exit, and you're the one who goes out. No idea what happens after that, except that you gain control of your planet. So that's going to be interesting to see, what happens. So he also tells Carl that this is his last season. He is not going to be doing this again. So basically, he wins his citizenship, and he just goes out into the universe. He just travels far and wide. So Mordecai is very important for so Carl can understand about this world, about this new reality that him and under 10 million people are going to be going through. And it's scary for Carl. First of all, of course, he mentioned, he does think about Beatrice. And of course, his assumption is that she was asleep and she's dead. So really, he's not he thought about her that one time, and then of course we later on find out that it's going to be more than one time he's going to think about her, especially in the realm of Donut. And so Mordecai, as I said, is very important for him to understand this new reality, as I said before. And the thing about Carl is that he can't believe that he's in the situation that he is in. That he is like, how in the world did this even happen? And even though Mordecai is explaining this, you get this feeling that it is way over his head. Like, there's a difference between playing a video game on screen, on your PlayStation, all this stuff, and living it. And so, as we, progress on, if you've read the book, a lot more things happen. Also, they talk about, like, the bathrooms, about how, like, people were, talking about, like, one version of the dungeon, there was no bathroom, so everybody was, like, shitting and pissing all over the place. It wasn't good. So, yeah. So, overall, I want to add, before I say the overall part of it, I also want to add that in chapter 1 of the book, we find out how Beatrice's family got wealthy, and it was through the breeding and showing of Persian cats. So, I want to add that to it. Carl, at this point, is somebody who is scared. You can tell that he's scared. He is terrified of what has happened. But we know from all the other books that come after it that Carl is determined to survive. So that's why he is determined to master this gate. At least that's my own personal opinion. But yeah. So overall, I am really enjoying the audiobook of Dungeon Crawling Carl. So next week I will come back with another video. So this is like only 20 minutes long. These are going to be every Wednesday. So like when my brother is at work, I will record another video and then get it ready to be uploaded. I'll upload it and then you'll get it. Like I'll do the word scheduled and you'll get it on a Wednesday. But yeah. So like I said, I'm enjoying rereading this book, even though I'm listening to audiobook. And I want to also add that this thing is cool. I like this. I like this. It's really awesome. I am going to say, adding to the voiceover, like the narrator, he literally does Mordecai so well. I just feel like when I'm listening to it that I'm actually listening to a guy named Mordecai. But anyways, oh yes, one more thing before I end this video, I forgot to add. Mordecai is a changeling, and he got this when he got on level 3, and when they reach a certain level, his place goes deeper. So anyways, so that's my video. As I said, I will be back doing this again next week on a Wednesday. So I'll see you guys then. Bye.